I'm willing to conjecture that many of us have had experiences in our lives where we've read some literature and thought to ourselves, wow, how does that work? I had one of these wow experiences recently reading a short story titled The Man That Was Used Up by the world renowned author Edgar Allan Poe, known for short stories and poetry alike. We're all basically aware, regardless of language, that the way in which we say something often determines much of how it's received. So please join me in a brief exploration of how the syntax of language gives structure to the semantics, the meaning behind our words in the English language through the man that was used up. First, we need to talk about what the man that was used up is. In a single sentence, it is a short story about a nameless man who discovers an ugly truth through the form of a satire about war heroes. Our nameless man goes on an adventure, learning more and more about a mutual acquaintance that he's introduced to. A Brevet Brigadier General John A.B.C. Smith. Smith is popular with plenty of our nameless man's acquaintances, but nobody can say much more than Smith? Why not General John ABC? Following every single dialogue, our man feels more and more frustrated, culminating in the climax where the man confronts General John, Brevet Brigadier General John ABC Smith. It is revealed that Smith is more prosthetic than man. Following his time in the Bugaboo and Kickapoo campaign, he is mostly made of wood. With an understanding of what this story expresses, we will together develop the tools needed to break it down. On the screen here are different kinds of sentences. We have our imperative, declarative, exclamatory, and interrogative. These four basic sentence types allow us to classify what's happening at the story and when. Not on a narrative level, but at something finer than that. On a syntactic level. What is the structure around what's happening at every single moment in the story? Okay, here's an example of each of these sentence types. You shall not pass! I'm a Barbie girl. Not the gumdrop buttons. Will you pursue me to the ends of the earth for not more than a chocolate bar? These different forms of sentence allow us to express information in different structures. An exclamative sentence expresses two different things. There is some information that the speaker knows, and whatever this information is, whether it's directly or indirectly referred to, it's surprising. Within every single exclamative sentence, the relationship between the information expressed and the information about how that information is perceived, the apparent perception of this information, is crucial to how the man that was used up moves its dialogue forward. Let's make an example. Near the middle of this story, there is a sequence of interactions between two characters whose value in the story satellites around our main character have a discussion with the nameless man. They repeat information and they exclaim information, and they say very little. at every single juncture, the actual information being perceived is not directly referenced, such that all of the information comes from the perception of the information being referenced, which is expressed through the structure imposed by an exclamatory sentence. There is surprise, but about what? Why? This isn't resolved until the very end, such that at every single moment, the reader is left frustrated and curious, and the nameless man is driven to speak with more and more people, determined to find the truth. I've told you this narrative, but I'm going to put some proof in the pudding. Here is a graph of the coding of these sentence types. At different junctures in the narrative, there are different patterns of sentences. Near the beginning and the ending, nearly all of the sentences are of a declarative nature. During sections of dialogue, particularly those which are leading to the climax, exclamatory sentences reign supreme. And yet they're followed by both declaratives and major story events. That is, every single dialogue is driven by these exclamatory sentences. And these dialogues drive the story. Much of the impact of these exclamatory sentences comes directly from the structure that they are imparted by the syntax of what an exclamatory sentence is. I'm using some vague wording, so I've done my research, and we'll talk about what it means for something to have illocutionary and sentential force. Hello, my name is John Sirius. Today we're going to be talking about sentential and illocutionary force. What does it mean to be forceful? I'll show you the meaning of force. I want you to go to the store. This is a declarative statement. The sentential force of this is of me saying something to you. I want you to go to the store. The illocutionary force, my intent behind that statement, is of something more like an imperative statement, more like you must do this. Now that we've gone over it, I can talk about how sentential force is the source of this narrative's meaning. The only way that this narrative can progress is by expressing this forcefulness through specific structures. The meaning imparted by the structure of these sentences is what gives this narrative the fuel it needs to convince the reader that something is happening. When I read this short story and I was trying to figure out why is the narrator doing what he's doing, it took me a little extra energy to understand between the lines, is he angry? Why? I came to the end of the story feeling bewildered because, though I didn't fully understand how, it worked. And the reason why it worked is because of that conventional force. The force of a sentence, the force of the way the thing is put together really brought the whole narrative together. Something I'd never experienced before, that perhaps many of the watchers here have not experienced before. A character named Climax does this. He speaks. Mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou owedst yesterday. And he speaks this directly into the character's ear, leading this man to take out his anger on him. He goes backstage and beats him. This is leading to the climax of the story where the main character has been driven quite purely by the frustration that he is experiencing from repetition of the same kind of forcefulness. See, these exclamatory sentences, they have a function to hide information. And this hidden information, whatever it is, it's put in the context of an exclamatory statement. Whatever is being talked about is surprising. What is it that everybody is hiding from me? I am angry, I'm frustrated because everybody is really interested in whatever this is, and they refuse to even refer to it directly. Clearly, I'm being played. The syntax choice of this author, the exclamatory sentence, works perfectly into his plan to explore what it means to shape the meaning of a narrative using, most of all, the form of the sentence used. Returning to the terms that we established a few moments ago, the dissonance between the sentential force and the illocutionary force is really strong here, and it leads to the conflict. It leads to the resolution of the story at its climax. At the end of the story, the exclamatory statement has a totally unique function. Our nameless hero, if he can be called that, encounters a bundle of clothing, junk, something. This bundle is Brevet Brigadier General John A.B.C. Smith. He's just not assembled yet. Smith calls in his servant. He yells at his servant, barking orders, "Put on my bosom. Attach my voice box." So on and so forth. At every single moment, our main character exclaims, "Voice box? Bosom?" Those exclamations acknowledge information that is now fully known to both the reader and the narrator. That hidden information has been revealed, and it is surprising. And now the main character can be resolved in evaluating who Brevet Brigadier General John A.B.C. Smith is. He is the man that was used up. Okay, we've gone over what this story is and how it propels itself. We're now in a position to review why it works. The consistent use of these exclamatory statements to propel the narrative without the use of something that breaks that, without revealing the information hidden by these exclamatory statements. It allows the author to be fully successful in his endeavor. If he had said somewhere along the way, yeah, they're hiding something, it wouldn't hit right. It just wouldn't be the same. It's the very indirectness that the author is exploring that makes this both interesting and successful. I started this video with the declarative statement, "You may have something something experienced something something." It had the sentential force of a declarative, but the illocutionary force of an interrogative. Whether you answered that before now or now Surely you have now experienced with me the moment to moment discovery of what makes the man that was used up special. What makes it something to exclaim about? Now, when I exclaim about it to you, this is an interesting and great story. Wow, you understand the information that I'm exclaiming about. No longer is it something to be a source of tension, but in fact, a relief. I do recommend that you give it a read. The information itself, the book, the story, it's 9 pages if you find it in like some anthology, and it's freely available online. It's not nearly as fun as getting it on paper, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll have attached a document that a write up that I did and so on and so forth. I recommend that you read it, and